Welcome to the society.
Before we descend into madness, please be advised that the following program contains topics and cases describing graphic violence, strong sexual content, explicit language, and elements that may not be suitable for some audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Phoenix 911, where's your emergency?
I need you to come pick me up.
What's the address of the emergency?
I'm at Circle K, but the emergency is at 21448 North 34th Drive.
Is that a house or an apartment there?
It's a house.
What's the emergency there?
I'd rather not say.
Okay, well, if you're calling 911, it's my job to find out, so I need to know what the emergency is.
I think it's murder
What makes you think that?
because I stabbed someone.
Okay. And where are you at?
I'm at Circle K on 35th Avenue in Deer Valley.
And who is this that you stabbed?
Google Austin Tapia.
Where did you stab him at?
I think I stabbed him in the chest and in the neck and in the head.
Okay. And who is this person?
This is Google Tapia's son.
But how do you know him?
He lives in the house with me.
Oh, okay, so he's your roommate?
He's a family, or he's a relative.
Okay. Is he like a cousin or?
He's basically kind of like a brother.
Okay. And what happened? Were you guys fighting or what was going on?
Honestly, I just felt like killing.
Okay. Have you been or doing any or anything like that?
No, I have not.
Okay. So you guys weren't arguing or anything like that?
Nope.
Okay.
That was a kill for a U.S. Marshal.
Okay.
Not sports man.
And what's your name, sir?
My name is Andrew Ward.
Are you at the front of the Circle K?
I'm inside the store.
Okay. And what are you wearing? What color shirt and pants?
I'm wearing a black shirt and gray pants. So actually not pants, but shorts.
Gray shorts. Okay. Do you have any weapons on you? Any knives, guns?
I sure do.
Okay. What do you have on you?
I have a knife, a Batman knife.
Okay. Is it like a steak knife, a butcher knife?
Switchblade.
Okay. Is it in your pocket or are you holding it out?
It's in my pocket.
Okay. Which pocket is it in?
I believe my right pocket.
Okay.
I'm using someone else's phone and they have to leave.
Okay.
You want to just pick me up here?
Can you let them know that it's 911? So if they could just hang on just a minute, it won't be too long. We're just going to come talk to you, okay? But if
All
you
right,
could just stay on the phone, because I want to make sure we get to the right place, okay?
All right. I'm on the phone for a little bit, but you have to talk to me.
Just let them know it's 911, okay?
He said he can't be late for class.
Okay, can you hand the phone to him really quickly?
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. She's on the phone. Hello?
Sir, this is the Phoenix Police. It's really important, and I understand you have to get to class, but this is a very important situation.
Well, I mean, he gave you the address of where he's at. You can call that.
I understand, but it has to do with him injuring
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I helped out as much as I could.
Okay.
I was the only one who was on the phone. So
thank you. It's not much help, but thank you.
Your cars have engines. You can get here faster than that.
Okay, well, I'm not going to argue with you, so thank you.
Dude is covered in blood, so I think you would get over here quick.
We are as quickly as we can, but I don't want to let a suspect go. I like to keep them on the phone to make sure we get the right person.
Yeah, I mean, I would be more than willing to stop over here if you wanted to, like, okay with that at school or something like that, but I don't know what to tell
I'm
you.
sure the officers will do as much as they can to help you with that excuse. I'm positive that they will help you in this situation.
Okay.
So as long as you can help me out, that would be amazing, and I would greatly appreciate your help.
Okay, well, all right. So, you guys are on the way over here then?
As fast as we possibly can. We are absolutely on the way. I just want to keep him talking because it's the best thing I can do right now.
All right, well, we'll leave my phone with him, and you can have one of the officers get the phone and then bring it to me at the school then.
Where do you go to school, and I'll make sure that happens?
MMI, the motorcycle mechanic school right down the road.
Is there a certain room we need to go to?
What room are we in? Do you want to write that down?
Absolutely. I have all of that information. You have no idea how much I appreciate you helping, and I'll make sure that gets back to you, okay?
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi.
Hi, Andrew. I just wanted to make sure we stayed on the phone, okay?
All right.
On the evening of March 12, 2014, around 5:30 p.m., a chilling 911 call came in from a Circle K convenience store in Phoenix, Arizona. The caller, Andrew Ward, reported that he had just stabbed someone at a house off 35th Avenue, south of Deer Valley Road. Hesitant, Ward eventually confessed to the dispatcher that he had stabbed 12-year-old Austin Tapia multiple times in the chest, neck, and head. When the police arrived, they found Andrew Ward at the Circle K, clutching a bloody knife, his clothes soaked in blood. Ward was promptly taken into custody and charged with first-degree murder. Ward's troubled past soon came to light. He had a history of addiction, mental health issues, and a criminal record that included convictions for DUI, resisting arrest, marijuana possession, and assault. His family revealed a history of addiction, depression, and violence within the home. Just a day before the murder, on March 11, 2014, a desperate 911 call was made from Ward's home by his sibling. The child pleaded for police to search Ward's room, expressing fears that he had brought a suspicious box into the house, possibly containing a gun. The dispatcher, however, explained that without a crime being committed or a direct threat, police couldn't search the room. The child's ominous words, "I guess I'll have to wait until he does something," now resonate with the haunting echo. The recording of this call later circulated on social media, sparking debate over whether the dispatcher's actions could have prevented Austin Tapia's murder. Phoenix police maintain that the dispatcher followed protocol and could not foresee the tragic outcome.
Oh, how may I help you?
Kind of cool. Is there any way you can check my brother's room or anything? Because we feel really, really unsafe because we're not sure what he bought.
Okay, what do you mean? What he bought?
He is really mentally unstable, so we're afraid he bought something that could possibly harm us.
Okay, and where is he right now?
In his room. He's 28 years old.
Okay, and who's there with you?
My mom, but he won't let us in the room to see what he bought, and we're scared. And
What's
we just
your
want to
address? Is that a house?
Yeah. We just want a police officer to come and check his room.
I mean, I can send an officer out to come talk to you guys, but I can't guarantee that they're going to go into his room and search his room.
You guys can't come in and search his room?
I don't know. I'm not an officer. I can send an officer to you, and they can talk to you, but like I said, it's going to be up to them. I mean, if they feel like they need to go in there and talk to him, then they'll be able to talk to him, but I don't think they're going to be able to just search his room.
Then, I don't know.
I mean, has he threatened you guys or done anything?
No, he's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. He's kind of crazy. He is seeing a psychiatrist, and he just got paid $400 and he blew it all. And he came through the door and really sketchy and went straight to his room. It looked like a box. I don't know what rifles come in. If it's a box or something.
I'm not sure.
I just wanted an officer to come and see to check his room.
Right, I understand what you want, but I'm letting you know. I can send an officer to you, but I mean, I can't guarantee they're just going to go in and search his room because he's not doing anything. He hasn't committed a crime. He's not threatening you guys. He's not doing anything. He's just in his room.
Okay, I guess I'll have to wait till he does something. Thank you.
3 weeks after his arrest, while in pretrial detention, Ward struck again. He killed his cellmate, 33-year-old Douglas Walker, who was awaiting sentencing for armed robbery. In a brutal attack, Ward suffocated Walker with a plastic bag, slashed his throat with a plastic playing card, beat him, smeared him with peanut butter, and stabbed him with a golf pencil. Following the second murder, Ward was placed in isolation. He underwent mental health evaluations and was deemed fit to stand trial. In August 2017, Ward pleaded guilty to both first-degree murder charges and was sentenced to 2 life terms. Welcome to a world where darkness and mystery converge. Navigate the depths of horror and true crime and join a society beyond the ordinary, where buzzworthy topics, paranormal tales, and listener-submitted experiences blend into a realm of the unknown. You have crossed into a place where the unusual and the terrifying are just the beginning. My name is Ralph Anthony, and welcome to the Scream Society podcast. Hello, Screamers. Welcome into the very first episode of the Scream Society. That's going to take some getting used to. In a world where the Olympics has Christian conservatives outraged and all communities are fighting with one another, I truly hope you all are hanging in there. The Scream Society is a podcast I created to talk and share everything from true crime, the latest in horror, buzzworthy and insane topics, listener horror stories, and way more than I can list in this opening monologue, which is why we'll just refer to it as my variety show from hell. I'm Ralph, your host, mastermind, force of darkness, behind the mic, if you will. I've been obsessed with horror films, true crime, and pop culture since I was a teeny tiny 6-year-old boy. Red flag. But this podcast was also created because I think there are a number of conversations happening in our society that are so black and white and need some more nuanced approaches. Now, although technically this podcast isn't brand new, it's safe to consider this episode the start of a new series, a requel, a new era. And if you're totally confused as to what I'm talking about, I started this podcast as the Scream Queer Podcast in 2022. You may have heard of it. It was a somewhat rocky journey. I learned and evolved so much as a person and especially as a creator. So what's to be expected from the Scream Society podcast? Well, I don't quite know myself, but I will say I want you to come here and have fun, to learn some things, have open and real discussions, and most importantly, have a really good scare. But enough backstory and about the past. Let's look to the future. Let's get into this episode's sinister subjects. If you are a horror fan, then you most definitely have heard about the film Longlegs. I think anticipation and build-up is something most people look forward to. To be able to look forward to something is exciting. Reading positive reviews, watching spoiler-free videos, essentially hyping something up. It's fun, right? But is there such a thing as overhype, especially when it comes to early critiques of film? The horror community was divided back in July over the much anticipated neon distributed film Longlegs. The film's premise reads, FBI agent Lee Harker is assigned to an unsolved serial killer case that takes an unexpected turn, revealing evidence of the occult. Harker discovers a personal connection to the killer and must stop him before he strikes again. Now, before a majority of audiences had even seen the film, there was a lot of hype and clever marketing strategies to support the release, with the studio releasing a phone number to call where you would experience the scariest and most unsettling phone call ever. It wasn't. Then the reviews came in, and I remember after seeing them, I got my hopes up. Before I get into my thoughts, just take a listen to what 3 different pre-screening reviews had to say. Longlegs is the most evil, satanic movie I've ever seen. It's like the devil went on Silence of the Lambs. I ate Chipotle before the movie, and this film made me shit my pants. My eyes changed colors from brown to red. This film is personally responsible for a Nightmare on Elm Street remake. This film told Jason Blum to produce Night Swim. It caused my Amazon package to get stolen by package poachers. It also started the 2016 clown sightings. I cannot stress how demented and evil this film is. I shat, jizzed, pissed, shivered, and threw up. 10 out of 10. You see where these are going, right? The next one reads, Oz Perkins' Longlegs absolutely tore me to shreds. Vicious, sick, and totally evil. Feels as if it was conjured by Satan himself. Every frame is an intense nightmare, smothered in endless, overwhelming dread. A movie hasn't made me feel this way in a very long time. Some truly wicked shit. Literally had to cover my eyes at one point. Scariest film of the decade. No one is ready. And lastly, Longlegs is the textbook definition of spine-tingling and legitimately had me on the verge of tears in terror. This isn't your dollar store jump scare fear. This gets under your skin and stays lurking. I instinctually blessed myself twice during Act 3. Don't see it alone. First off, Maika Monroe, Blair Underwood, and Nicolas Cage offer up some stellar performances aside from some goofy scenes with Nicolas Cage. If you've seen the film, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The filmmaking style, the scenery, and the score was really well done. I also appreciated the hidden Easter eggs throughout the film, or in this case, the hidden devil sightings throughout the film, which some of you counted up to 15 sightings of Satan throughout the film. Oz Perkins, you sneaky little devil. With that said, I'm not sure if I've just done so much research on satanic psychopaths, cults, and have seen my fair share of pure evil at this point. But in my personal and 3 out of 4 individuals who watched this film with me opinion, it just wasn't scary at all. To me, I felt like I was watching a true crime suspense thriller. Some scenes actually took me out of certain moments. There were just more misses here than hits. And before you come for me, I am well aware that horror is not just about jump scares. And in fact, I can appreciate when a film ditches that aspect altogether. I can do a slower film with artistic approaches, with big payoffs in the end, slow burns as we call them now. Hello, Hereditary, The Witch, Pearl even. But Longlegs wasn't that for me. I felt it would take you somewhere unsettling, get you all uncomfortable, get you all on edge, like you're sinking in your seat. I was plugging my ears during some scenes, then immediately it would just move on to the next scene. And I never really got that payoff in the end. In fact, it kind of left me with blue balls, for lack of a better term. But I think why so many horror fans were disappointed was because we went into the film with high hopes based off of this hype. Now, all of this hoopla is causing some division, of course, in the horror community. Let's just call it like it is. They're just fighting. Some creators on social media have received death threats for simply having their own opinions. It's really not that serious. It's honestly draining the fun out of horror, all this fighting. And I think the real question here is, what is the solution to this overhype issue? And the right answer would probably be that there isn't one. I know for me personally, trending forward, I'm just not going to read any review at all. And just to clear the air, I didn't hate Longlegs, but I also didn't love it. How many of you have ever trusted your intuition to the point it saved you from what could have been a very traumatic experience? Well, one girl who goes by the name Really Raven posted a short clip to social media explaining an experience she had and also posting a screenshot of a message she received after. The video shows her with music playing over and a long caption that reads, "I stopped at an empty bar for one drink, which turned into more. The bartender wanted me to stay past closing and go back to his place. I had a long drive ahead and knew I shouldn't. Then looked in the bathroom mirror and heard a voice inside say, 'Go home.' I left and got this message the next day.
intuition, or something else? Then she shows a screenshot of her notification center with a DM on Instagram from someone by the name of William C.K. And the message reads, "Damn, I guess I should have just raped you then, huh?" Like, the level of audacity. Now, this had taken place in Florida. The bartender has since been fired, rightfully so, and allegedly had already been under investigation for other crimes, but is still roaming free. Trash. And this is just another example of why you never ignore your gut feeling, whether it's a good feeling or a bad one. It's also important to understand that it doesn't just happen to women, but men fall victim to these scenarios also. This actually reminds me of everything that is going down with the Abbey. Now, the Abbey is a club and lounge located in West Hollywood, woot woot, and is known by many as being an iconic staple and safe space, especially amongst LGBT people. It's also a spot where certain celebrities and famous drag queens hang out and perform. I've been years ago, and it used to be so fun. The whole vibe and atmosphere of West Hollywood was always my favorite. I remember one memory I went during Halloween. There's like a huge block party or a huge party on Santa Monica Boulevard, and it's so lively. Everyone's just having a good time, feeling so good. It felt safe. Well, cut to today, the Abbey has come under many allegations of sexual assault and people being roofied, but not just by creepy clubgoers, but from the bartenders themselves. Because clubgoers have found it odd that after one or two drinks, they become incapacitated. Now, over a 3-year investigation conducted by independent news source, The 19th, more than 70 people have claimed their drinks were drugged at the Abbey in West Hollywood. And that's only the documented cases. And despite consuming less than their usual alcohol limit or just soda and water, many claimed to have experienced disorientation or lost consciousness. This is nuts. While others claim to have seen bartenders secretly passing a substance to each other behind the bar, allegedly. Some patrons even provided documentation such as hospital records, photos, and videos to support their claims. The investigation included interviews with Abbey staff, local officials, and experts. Digging further, the investigation revealed claims of drugging and sexual assault ranging from 2007 to the summer of 2023, but only 7 resulted in lawsuits, all settled out of court. The Abbey has come forward stating that settling lawsuits does not imply wrongdoing and claimed no evidence of staff drugging patrons in its 30 years of operation. But 4 former employees reported that management was repeatedly alerted to possible spiked drinks, but instructed staff to attribute it to strong drinks. This is why I have trust issues. I think it's really important for victims to come forward and share these experiences. It's just so disappointing that a space originally created to be safe can also be so unsafe. And I think that's why it is so crucial to keep having these conversations, because what's going to be left for us if these spaces are just overran by predators? I am a big advocate for freedom of expression, freedom of choice, freedom of speech, and unfortunately, we are living through really dark times where, in a sense, everybody is at each other's throats. If you don't agree with someone, you don't have to tear them down. They just aren't for you. And I think what we tend to forget is opinions aren't facts. Conspiracy theories aren't facts. Relying on social media to feed you these quote unquote facts is so irresponsible. Now, I am no stranger to conspiracy theories. They add an interesting layer to life and give you that what if in the back of your mind. It's fun to believe them, but it's another to run around telling people they should believe them. Well, that's exactly what one dental hygienist did during one of their cleanings. Jo Danvers, who is 27 and from Oregon, shared her wild experience online, and it's already been viewed by millions of people. She described the incident as crazy and even shared the email she sent to the clinic detailing her encounter with the hygienist from hell. I've peeked at highlights from the email, but I have the full email here for us. It's too good not to share the whole thing. The email reads, "Hello, I had a teeth cleaning appointment today, July 22nd, 2024 at 9 a.m. The dental hygienist I saw was blank, who said that she works in various locations around blank, filling in at different places. While she was cleaning my teeth, I was in a vulnerable position with her using tools in my mouth. She began to explain political conspiracies as fact. Below are the items I recall, and she has a full-on bullet point list. Let's get through it. Biden is behind Trump's assassination. Biden died in 2020. Biden is not the real president because his letter about stepping down was not on official letterhead. JFK Jr., who is supposed to be dead, used presidential letterhead, so he is alive and is the true vice president. Soon, there will be a 7 to 10 day broadcast exposing the government, specifically about how Biden really died in 2020. During this time, we, the public, won't have access to the internet. Russia is helping the US in Cuba with 100,000 prisoners whom they are putting on ships. There's a beer commercial with many celebrities who are supposed to be dead. John Lennon, Tupac, Elvis, Marilyn Monroe, etc. But they're actually alive because the commercial shows them at the age they'd be today. Princess Diana is alive and in FBI witness protection. Everyone in the US Congress wears a mask. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I genuinely would have asked this hygienist, so is Biden dead or behind the assassination? Because you're saying too much and it's not adding up. If he's behind the assassination, how is he dead? Now, on the other hand, some of these conspiracies actually sound interesting, as much as I hate to say that. Enough to do a deep dive on, right? Would you guys want me to do a deep dive on any of these? The beer commercial with dead celebrities and the 7 to 10 day broadcast exposing the government caught my eye. Anyway, since sending this email, Jo reported receiving a call from her dentist who apologized for the hygienist's actions, noting that the hygienist was only at the clinic for a short period. On top of that, the dentist's office issued a formal email response stating that discussing such matters in the office was neither true nor appropriate, and clarified that the hygienist was a temporary staff member filling in until the regular hygienist returned. Sure. Now, Jo claims she decided to share her experience because, and I quote, "Spouting your political beliefs and conspiracies in a professional environment out of nowhere is weirdo behavior. It's honestly weird in any environment." We have to talk about this Sonya Massey case that grabbed everyone's attention in early July. According to the case documents, retelling of the incident taking place during the early morning of July 6, 2024, Sonya Massey originally called the police, claiming there was an intruder in her home. Two deputies, Officer Grayson and another unidentified officer, responded and searched her backyard and the entire area around her property, but found nothing suspicious. When they knocked on her front door, it took about 3 minutes before Massey opened it and started talking to them while using her cell phone. The deputies told her they didn't find anything unusual. As they were about to leave, the unidentified officer went around the side of her house to check the license plate of a vehicle in her driveway, which Massey said wasn't hers. Massey and Grayson continued talking, and when the other officer returned, all three went inside Massey's home. Inside, Grayson kept asking Massey for her driver's license and talked about the vehicle outside. The unidentified deputy looked around the house while Massey went through some papers and her purse. She even asked Grayson to hand her a Bible. After about a minute and a half, the deputies asked Massey to check on her stove, saying they didn't want a fire to start since she had it on. When she picked up a pot of water, the deputies stepped back. Massey asked them why they were moving, and Grayson replied it was because of the hot water. Massey then said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." When Grayson asked her to repeat it, he drew his gun and threatened to shoot her in the face. The other deputy did the same. Now, Massey immediately apologized and dropped to the floor behind the kitchen counter, but both deputies advanced towards her with their weapons drawn. Grayson fired 3 shots, killing her. The unidentified deputy radioed that shots had been fired and mentioned a woman with a headshot wound. He started to get his medical kit, but Grayson stopped him, saying she's done. A police radio recording even had someone telling dispatch that Massey's wound was self-inflicted. Massey was later pronounced dead at St. John's Hospital in Springfield. Now, an autopsy confirmed she was shot beneath her eye and the bullet exiting at the back of her neck, indicating a downward trajectory. You can have your opinions on guns and police, but I believe this entire situation was handled irresponsibly. Now, having seen the body cam footage that was released on July 22nd, the officer's actions were appalling. And I, without a doubt, believe the officer who fired the gun was, let's just call it like it is. He was on a power trip. And tragedies like this highlight the abuse of power and, quite frankly, contributes to the growing lack of respect for those who are supposed to protect us, and is also another instance of authoritarian violence against people of color that we are facing in our current climate. Since the murder, Sean Grayson has since been fired and was indicted on multiple counts, including first-degree murder, but has pleaded not guilty. Lack of accountability, of course. But it's the other pieces of information that have surfaced that make me think we need to do more thorough background checks and more forms of behavioral analysis. Because years before Sean Grayson shot Sonya Massey, records reveal he had a history of serious misconduct, leading to being discharged from the Army and multiple DUIs. It was also revealed he worked at multiple Illinois law enforcement agencies and was recommended to take high-stress decision-making classes after failing to obey commands during a high-speed chase. How many more red flags do you need? It's been more than apparent that systemic changes are desperately needed in our law enforcement practices, but again, I think there has to be some form of thorough background checks and stricter hiring standards implemented. How does it even make sense that individuals with histories of misconduct and poor decision making are put in positions that deal with public safety? The math never maths. We're going to move on, but my heart goes out to the family and loved ones of Sonya Massey. It's really up to us to share these stories, as heartbreaking and angering as they may be. Now, I want to know your opinion on this whole thing. Beacons.ai/The Scream Society. Let's take a break, a tribute to one of my favorite actors after the break.
I'm AJ.
And I'm Christy.
We are in love with horror. If you love horror, this is where you want to be. So come join us. Hit subscribe so you can stay tuned in to all things horror.
This was supposed to be the segment of the podcast where I would answer any questions or share submissions from you, the listener. which if you want me to answer a question, whether that be something about me, something you want me to share, or you simply want to share a personal, horrifying, or creepy experience, head to beacons.ai/The Scream Society once again, and scroll down to the submission link. All submissions remain anonymous unless you state otherwise. However, for this week's episode, I would love to focus on an iconic, brave trailblazer in the acting world who I have looked up to since probably the age of 8. If you're a fan of 90s primetime television, then you know who Shannen Doherty is. Even predating the 90s, Shannen was a household name, from roles in Mallrats, Heathers, to even Little House on the Prairie. Well, we unfortunately lost her this past July to stage 4 breast cancer that spread to her bones and brain. Now, I never watched Beverly Hills 90210, but 8-year-old me did discover a little show about 3 sisters who just so happened to be witches called Charmed. And I was so invested and was immediately drawn to the eldest sister and middle sister, played by Shannen Doherty, and her best friend, Holly Marie Combs. That was part of my introduction to very strong women, aside from Nevin Scream. But for me, Charmed was just everything. And as a boy who knew he was, at such a young age, hiding a part of me from the world, I identified with these characters who were also hiding this big secret. And in my teens, not having very many friends, I just look forward to going home, look forward to weekends and watching Charmed. It was my comfort. And to this day, at 34 years old, I still watch the show religiously. When I woke up to the news that Shannen had passed, I felt weird. I know people are out there questioning why or how someone could possibly mourn someone they don't know personally, they've never met, but I honestly was truly devastated and crushed. When Shannen first announced her diagnosis a year short of a decade ago, I followed her story close, rooting for her. She was my childhood. In a sense, the strong character she played was always there for me in a weird way, and seeing her share her journey was just so inspiring. And the way she viewed the world, she embodied that character we fell in love with, showing the world she was just as strong in reality. Then with the release of her podcast, Let's Be Clear, last December, and just hearing her perspective on life and what was going through her mind, which she knew she essentially had a time frame, but she always remained hopeful. And I think that's a really important outlook, especially with something like a terminal disease. Then, not even a full month ago, she had announced she would be joining the Charmed Rewatch podcast, which fans like myself went absolutely crazy over, and we were so looking forward to it, to getting her take on everything. And then a week later, she's gone. And it was just a really weird time. And I honestly didn't know how to cope with that. So I joined a few Charmed groups on social media, and just seeing thousands of people mourning this loss was proof enough that for some, she just wasn't another actor. I'm sorry, but we have to acknowledge how just fucking badass it is just to let's be real. She created a list of people that she didn't want at her funeral. And I think that is probably one of the most badass things anyone could ever do. So for Shannen, rest in peace, Queen. You deserve it. For fans of Charmed, Shannen had recorded about 5 episodes before her passing. So if you're interested, check out The House of Hollowell, which is available on all podcast platforms. Thank you for tuning into the Scream Society podcast, hosted, written, produced, and edited by yours truly, Ralph Anthony. Help the society grow by subscribing on your favorite platform and leave a rating and review. I always strive for 5s. Have a horror or paranormal experience? Want me to answer your questions on the show? Submit to beacons.ai/The Scream Society. Connect with the podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Scream Society Podcast. And until next time, I'll scare you on the next episode.